Hey boss, could I get a raise so I can stop driving my Hyundai and buy a Bentley? At least I thought it was funny. These 5 modifications are widely accepted in the car community, and most likely you'll see them at your next ideal car show. Every one of these is more or less a pointless, non-performance mod, and in no real way, shape, or form make your car any faster. But they're a ton of fun to do, and will definitely make your car stand out in a crowd, even if it is a Mustang. And if you do any of these to your car, you're going to enjoy it even more than you already do, if that's even possible. In fact, I've done all 5 of these pointless mods to my car, and they're not really that controversial, and almost every enthusiast can get behind them. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about each mod and then tell you the ideal way to tackle each one of them so that it works best for you. And if you're new here, my name is Brad Danger, and this is Ideal Cars. So if you enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button and get me 1 subscriber closer to buying this channel and Ideal McLaren, because 1 click can make all the difference. And some of our best videos aren't even out yet. Okay, let's start off with a throwaway wheel set. So you are an enthusiast and you have a performance car, and probably the most important handling component between you and the road is your wheels and tires. So you don't want to cheap out on them, or do you? I mean, why have a fun car when you can't have fun with it? And that's the catch of having something nice. So you're at the end of a car show, you got a crowd around you, and a kid is yelling at you to do a burnout. You know, it'll make his day, or maybe even his year. So you decide to mash your right foot onto the accelerator, even just for a couple of seconds. And right when you do, on a closed road of course, you feel the excitement, which quickly turns to regret, as you realize that those 7 seconds of pleasure quickly turn into hundreds of miles off your brand new tires, and you just feel like you're burning through cash. Luckily, cheap wheels and tires can do the trick. When you want to have fun doing burnouts or donuts or try your hand at drifting, picking up a used set of wheels in the smallest size that will fit your car can save you a ton of money. And why the smallest size? Because the smaller the rim, the cheaper the tire. And the slimmer the tire, the easier it is to lose grip. Yeah, I know 16s might not look cool as 18s, but the cost per tire is drastically less. Very few people know this, but one of the tricks that I use is build a relationship with your local car dealer and ask them if you can buy half-worn tires from them. They'll sell them to you for pennies on the dollar, and they come with no guarantee, so check them for any blowouts, nails, or punctures, and make sure that they're actually the right size. But man, I picked up 4 16-inch tires for my M3 for less than $100 and had a blast ripping the tires off of that car all weekend long, which if I would have done with my 18-inch performance tires, that would have been a $1,000 mistake. So a cheap wheel and tire setup is actually a no-brainer if you really want to find the limits of how fun your car can be, especially sideways. Number 2 is blacking out lights. Tinting, smoking, or blacking out your lights can be an extremely cost-effective way to give your car a more aggressive look. If you have a black car, it helps with that murdered out appearance. And if you have a lighter car, it really can create contrast. You can do this by either using tint or paint to tackle the headlights, taillights, and indicator lights. And if you plan on doing this project or already have, make sure that you can see at night both out your headlights and people can easily see your taillights. Remember, function over fashion, or is it the other way around? Number 3 is spoilers. Spoilers are put on race cars to increase the grip on the road. On most cars, the only thing keeping the tires down on the pavement is actually the weight of the car itself. So to increase the amount of grip the car has, you really have 3 options. The first one is to change the tire compound. The second is to increase the weight of the car, or third, ding ding ding, is to add a spoiler. See, a spoiler works like an upside down airplane wing. Instead of creating lift, it creates downforce and pushes the car down onto the road, which in theory sounds great, but here is the catch. Wings that you see on the Ferrari F1 cars or GT3 cars have had a ton of research and development to make sure that they're creating the perfect amount of downforce. So much, in fact, that an Indy car creates enough grip that at 200 miles per hour, it could hang completely upside down on the track. Yeah, like totally defeating gravity. Now, the aftermarket wing that you see on the road on your way to the grocery store most likely has decreased the performance of their car by adding that wing, because it increases drag over stock. And I think that's okay, because I love them, and it's an easy way to increase your curb appeal and make the car look unique. And there are a lot of great aftermarket spoiler options. Just remember, a little wing can make a huge difference. And here's my guide for wing size. What I suggest is looking for a car that has similar horsepower to yours, that came with the factory wing stock, and try to find one roughly the same size for your car to make it wing-tastic. For example, if you've modified your car to 300 horsepower, which is roughly the same power as an STI, get a wing similar in size. If you've modded your car to 500 horsepower, which is roughly the same as a GT3 RS, find a wing that's comparable to that coat hanger. And if you're pushing out 100 horsepower in your stock Civic LX, either don't get a wing, because no car with that horsepower from the factory came with a wing, or YOLO and join the big wang gang. Because after all, If you're gonna do rice, you don't wanna think twice. Tinted windows. Now, unless you live in an extremely sunny state like Florida or Arizona, tinting your windows is pretty much pointless, but we still love it. In the hot states, it will dramatically decrease the inside temperature of the car. Here's the issue with tinting your windows. If you're not careful, you may go too dark at night and could be driving completely blind. Some people get all their windows tinted, including their windshield, which at night can feel like you're driving without your headlights on. And if your rear window is too dark, well, you may have trouble backing up in low light conditions. And no matter what, check your local state laws on how dark you can actually go. My advice is, depending on the color of your car and wheels, going the darkest tint isn't always the best look. If you have black wheels, the darkest you can go usually looks the best. But if you have silver or bronze wheels, going for a lighter tint can play really well with the wheel color. Debadging. Depending on your ride, I think that debadging can make your car look a bit cleaner. But I'm gonna rant for just a second, because I've seen a lot of people debadging to then over badge, which is not a thing to do. We've all seen that regular 3 Series over badge to an M3, or Turbo S badges on a regular 911 Carrera, or AMG badges on your run-of-the-mill Mercedes C-Class. And if changing one badge is bad, just look at this Ferrari. Toyota. That is totally attempting to trick unsuspecting motorists that it goes 200 miles an hour, has engine out oil changes, and is parked as a centerpiece in the living room. Now that is just not cool. And one thing that has started to catch on is under badging. And I really like this practice, which actually stems from muscle cars in the 1960s racing for pink slips. Pink slips are titles, essentially. Back then, most cars had engine displacement on the front fender. So your 1969 Camaro might say that it has a 350 small block on the front fender. But in reality, you'd be running a built big block getting 3 times the horsepower than that 350. But nowadays, we've been seeing people under badging their BMW M3s to put on 318i badges. I love it. And this works extremely well if you want to convince your boss that he isn't paying you enough. Hey boss, could I get a raise so I can stop driving my Hyundai and buy a Bentley? At least I thought it was funny. But I wouldn't suggest to underbadge your yellow Ferrari that goes 200 miles an hour, has engine out oil changes, and you park as a centerpiece in your living room. In some cases, it just doesn't work. So debadging, which is super easy with some floss and a heat gun, is definitely a great mod. Personally, I think that underbadging is starting to really catch on, which I might just do to my 911 and make it a 912. What do you think? Vote on the poll up here. Either way, man, oh man, please, please, please do not overbadge. So there are the 5 mods that are not performance oriented. Which one was your favorite? Or is it one that I didn't mention, like Plasti? Let us know down in the comments. Also, if you want to learn how to buy and drive an ideal car and do some of these pointless mods to it, check out the Ideal Car Strategies, where you're going to join a group of next generation enthusiasts who are extremely motivated, who also want to buy ideal cars with the goal to either break even or make money enjoying them. Oh yeah, and if you liked this video, you are going to love the video about the 5 American sleepers that you just absolutely do not want to race. So check that out up here. Also, you can check out what YouTube recommends if you don't want to watch that video. Also, subscribe, but either way, you can't lose, and as always, keep living that ideal lifestyle.